Warriorland sent me out some products to review. This is the Crossbow light and green laser combo. With the bright sunshine out here, it's pretty hard to see the light and the laser, but we're still going to put it through the ringer, see if it handles the recoil, and then go back to the studio and see how it works. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. I did a collaboration with Warriorland probably about a year or so ago on a light for the Sig Sauer P365. And one of the things that I loved about the light that they sent me is that it actually came with a holster, an IWB concealed carry holster that fit the pistol with the light, which I felt like was, really smart thinking on their part, because a big part of, when you modify your carry gun, well, then you have to find a holster company that'll make a holster that works with whatever light, laser, whatever you put on it. And that can be a problem. And so I thought that that was very smart of them to include a decent Kydex holster with their light. Well, they reached out to me again recently to do another collaboration, and they sent me a few things. Initially, when I looked at their website, I was like, I could really use an outside the waistband holster for my government length 1911. And they were like, sure, we'll send you that, but we're going to send you some other stuff as well. And so that's mainly what we're going to be talking about today. So make sure you're subscribed, and let's talk about these products. Crossbow light and laser combo. It is universal, so it fits on almost any gun, and I love to try things out on my dagger. It's just the perfect platform for testing products that get sent to me. And I zeroed the laser on it before I came out here. So we'll put a bunch of rounds through it, and then when we get back, see if it's still zeroed. So besides the 1911 holster, which is something that I really needed, and I definitely appreciate, they sent me two of their newest products. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Crossbow. It's a light and laser combo. And I'm going to start this with a little bit of a caveat that I don't normally put lasers on my pistols. When I bought my very first pistol, I did get a laser for it, and I bought a cheap laser off of Amazon, and I was very frustrated with it. And as I have grown and learned more about firearms, I now put lights on all of my guns, but not lasers. You see lights on all these, and in fact, there was a Streamlight TLR1 HL on this PSA dagger that I took off in order to put the Warriorland Crossbow on here. But the great thing about this is that it does have a very good high quality light and a laser, and it has a bunch of different modes. You can run it just the light, just the laser, or both. And I actually think that it is pretty effective when you're running both. And I think the biggest reason why, so I actually really trust this PSA dagger. It's a Gen 3 Glock 19 clone. I use it a lot for videos testing out products that are sent to me, different red dot optics, different lights, things like that. And it's a really good platform to test because it's a Glock clone. It has a standard Glock accessory rail, and most companies make products that fit Glocks. Warriorland is no exception there. And this is a universal mount for this light and laser combo. It works on a bunch of different Glock models. In fact, it works on a bunch of different pistol models, not just Glocks, which is very cool. But what I think would be really cool for this is a pistol that I trust. It's very reliable. And in fact, I've got one of those magnetic like pistol slide holders on the little table next to my bed that this sits in at night so that I can grab it quickly if I need to be ready with it. And having a light and laser combo is a great idea. Now, I have a red dot on this gun. But if you didn't have a red dot and just iron sights, it would actually be ideal. But even with the red dot, it's perfectly fine, and it actually made it very easy to zero. I just zeroed it down the longest hallway in my home, exactly to the dot. And now, of course, as you get closer, that laser is going to be lower and your red dot and your optic is going to be a little higher. But that's easy to account for. Your shot's going to be right between them then at close range. But what I think that this would be very useful for is if you wake up in the middle of the night, someone's kicking your door in, you're half asleep, you might not have a perfect draw, a perfect, presentation of your pistol, but you turn this on, it lights up your target and it puts a laser on them. You don't even have to look through your optic or at your sights, especially at a close distance. So I want to show you guys what this looks like in the light first. You can see the light and you can see the dot right there. It might be hard in the light, so I'm going to actually turn the lights off in the studio here and show you what it looks like in the dark. So you can see the laser dot right there. Maybe not on camera so well, but I can see it very well. And especially if I'm looking across the room at it, it is extremely bright. The light itself, but also the green laser. And the only light that you're getting in the picture right now is actually from this pistol light. And so if I was half asleep in the middle of the night and I had to pull this thing out and point it at an intruder, it would be really easy to just put that dot right on target and fire off some rounds. And you can run this with just the light, just the laser, or both, which I think if I was going to use this on my home defense pistol, I'd probably use it with both, because chances are something that's going to happen that's bad is going to happen at night. And, you're not going to be in your perfect form if you wake up to, someone kicking your door in or something like that. And so being able to just light them up, but also have an aiming method right on the target, I think it would be pretty sweet for a home defense pistol. Now it is also rechargeable, which is very nice. And it also has a screen here. You can see there it's showing me how much battery life I have left, so you know when you need to charge it. But it also will show you which mode you're in, whether you're running just the light, just the laser, or both. So I actually think that this is a pretty sweet product, and I'm going to keep it on this PSA dagger for a while, and it's going to sit right next to my bed, and it's just one more thing to make me be able to sleep easy at night. So if a light and laser combo is not quite your speed, they also sent me this, which is just a red laser that fits the Glock trigger guard and rail, and it comes with a holster that fits the laser, so you don't need to find a holster to work with it. Now, if a light and laser combo is not quite what you're looking for, they also sent me this. And this is just a red laser, and it is specifically built for Glock. It fits that, the classic Glock shape trigger guard, and it's extremely easy to install. There's a couple screws here. Those come out, and the side of it actually comes off. You put it right on your trigger guard and your accessory rail, put that back on, screw those screws in, and you're good to go. It's actually the same installation as the light that they sent me last year for the SIG P365. And I believe that they do actually make this for the P365 as well as for a bunch of Glock models. It fit my 19X very easily. And you might remember I started the video saying that what I thought was so cool about the light that they sent me last year was that it came with a holster to accommodate it. Well, so does this. And that, to me, is very smart. You don't have to go out and try to find a company that'll make you a holster to fit this laser. They send you one. It's a good Kydex holster, totally solid, very similar style to many Kydex holsters that I've bought. You could run this, you know, strong side or appendix if you wanted. I believe it would probably even take like a concealment claw if you wanted to make it conceal even better. Not sure about that, so don't quote me, but I mean, same kind of hardware as many other holsters I've had. And so that really, it just makes it much easier to buy a product like this when you know you don't have to go looking for a holster for it as well. And the thing about this laser, so the laser on the Crossbow is a green laser with the light. Well, this is a red laser. I'm actually red-green colorblind, but I can't tell the difference between them. When I was out shooting these two products at the range, because I wanted to make sure that they stood up to recoil, that they would actually work, you know, on a firearm that, you know, that you use all the time. And they did. I put a bunch of rounds through both of them. I was actually able to see this laser even in the middle of the day in the bright sunlight. And that is, that's not a normal thing with a laser. Lasers are hard to see in the bright light unless they're relatively powerful. And you guys can see that right there. The lights are on in the studio as well as the camera lights, and that laser is very, very easy to see. And so that is good to know that it will actually be visible to you when you need to use it. I think for a gun like this that doesn't have an optic, it makes more sense, you know, especially, like I said, if you needed to, you know, quickly acquire a target without, you know, you didn't have time to maybe line up your sights or something. It would be very easy to turn on that laser and get a, you know, target acquisition in that way. Even though it's very bright out here, I just realized that I can actually see this red laser on the target. So I'm going to try to just use the laser and not my sights. It's hard to see though. This one again is extremely easy to zero. Both of these have windage and elevation adjustments that were just super duper easy. Zeroing a laser now is a lot easier to me than on that first laser I bought with my first handgun years ago. This one, again, I just went down the longest hallway in my house and zeroed it to the iron sights, and it worked out well. Although I can see it's not quite, it's a little bit off to the right now, so I'm going to have to make an adjustment on that. But very visible laser, it held up to recoil well, and I've got no complaints about it. When Warriorland reached out to me, I looked at their website, and one of the things they offered, along with lots of holsters, lights, lasers, things like that, was actually an outside the waistband paddle holster for a government length 1911. Something that I was in need of. So I told them that, and they sent me one. And now, while the main two products that they wanted me to feature were these two things, the Crossbow light and laser and the red laser with the holster here, what I was almost the most excited about, to tell you the truth, was this outside the waistband holster for my 1911. And the big reason for that is I just don't normally run lasers. I have to be honest with you guys. I run lights on my pistols and not lasers. I'm happy to try stuff out, and if it works well, I will show you guys that. But what I do like to do is run my 1911 at the range, and for some reason I just didn't have a good outside the waistband 1911 holster. I have an inside the waistband 1911 holster, but you know what? I don't carry this gun inside the waistband. I've got other guns for that. The 1911 is big, it's heavy, this big grip, prints a lot, and the IWB holster that I had just made no sense, and I've rarely ever used it. But you do want a holster at the range for, you know, for practicing, you know, your draw, stuff like that, but also just so that you can go hands-free and carry stuff around, you know, carry your gun around and still be able to use your hands to set up targets, cameras, do whatever else you need to do, load magazines. And so having an outside the waistband holster for the range, I think is very important, especially with a gun like a 1911, which, let's be honest, this is a gun that I mostly use for the range. You know, if I want a gun to be tactical and to use defensively, I'm going to probably use the 2011 for that. But I do love shooting my 1911. And this holster is cut for a red dot if you had one. I don't on this gun, but it would accommodate that. It's made for a 5-inch government length 1911. Exactly what mine is. The retention is very positive. It clicks into place. It holds it well. Comes out easily. And it's that paddle style that just, you know, goes on and off of your belt extremely easily. This is something that I will use all the time. I've had an inside the waistband holder for my 1911 for a long time, but I don't carry the 1911. I have other guns that I carry. So I was really happy when they sent me an outside the waistband holster that I could use at the range. I really love shooting my 1911, so any excuse to get out here and do it is a good enough reason for me. Having an outside the waistband holster for the range is really helpful because you can be hands-free to do things like deal with targets, cameras, and carry your 1911 around with you. So I do appreciate Warriorland sending me these things out. I am going to continue to run the Crossbow light and laser combo on my PSA dagger for the foreseeable future. I'm going to have it on here ready to go at night in case I ever need to just quick grab and go and might not have time to get a good sight picture with my red dot or my iron sights. This will be a very effective, you know, home defense tool, I think. And so I am going to keep it on here, at least for now. I'm going to continue to run it and put rounds through it. And I will let you guys know if it fails at some point. But so far, it has held up to recoil just fine. The light is extremely bright. The laser, I can see it perfectly fine right in the middle of that light beam. And I'm going to continue to use this 1911 holster all the time at the range. I'm sure you guys will see it in plenty more videos. And so I do want to thank Warriorland for sending me this stuff. This is the second time we've collaborated on, you know, just showing some of their products on my channel. And I definitely appreciate it. And I hope they do as well. I think they make good stuff. And I think it is definitely worth checking out their website. I'll put a link to it down in the description, as well as links to some of these products. You could check those out if you want. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know in the comments. I love to hear from you guys. I answer every comment. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.